Thank you very much, Miroslav, for a very inspiring and thought-provoking keynote for our panel today. Your Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, good almost afternoon yet morning still. My name is Anna Lvova, and I will be moderating the second panel of today. Who the hell is she, you might wonder, so a few words. I have an extensive background in communications and international relations for development financial institutions. And as of recently, I've moved on to consultancy and coaching. I'm a certified life and business coach, and I deal with helping companies to build their strategies. So today, I'm going to be moderating two panels, and this is the first one, and I'm very happy to be here. This panel, surprise, surprise, is powered by MATADOR Group, whose keynote speech we just heard, and whose wonderful car we can see in the background. So we thank MATADOR Group for the sponsorship of the panel. And we are about to take, I would say, a hard-speed drive into one of the V4's most critical industries, which is the automotive industry. And the title of the panel today is The Automotive Sector at the Crossroads. In my humble opinion as a moderator, it's not an exaggeration at all. We are at a rare moment in time when strategy, politics, labor, and technology are all competing for the steering wheel in the sector. And I think the big questions today are simple, and yet they're not. Will the V4 remain a magnet that it is for automotive investment? Or can we move fast enough on electrification? And where will the talent and the charging stations, for that matter, will come from? So a few numbers I would like to throw in to get the engines going. The automotive sector employs in the V4 over 900,000 people, directly and indirectly. In Slovakia alone, cars make up nearly 40% of industrial exports. In Hungary, it's over 20% of manufactured GDP. ŠKODA Auto, which is present at the panel today, alone employs 35,000 people and produces 800,000 vehicles annually. And yet, despite all this horsepower that we're seeing being demonstrated, I would say we're facing quite a bumpy ride at the moment. Labor shortages, battery constraints, Chinese competition that Miroslav has already mentioned, and a supply chain at the moment which is, how shall I put it mildly, trying to recover from a lot of global shaking up. So that's a lot of things to discuss and a very short period of time that we have to. But to help me navigate on this road today, we've assembled a panel that knows the sector, I think, from every gear and gasket, I can say. So I'm going to pass on the microphone to my esteemed panelists. Would you please introduce yourselves very briefly? And one question, very short and sharp, that I would probably throw in at the very beginning. What, in your humble opinion, is currently the biggest challenge that the automotive sector in V4 is facing?
So I'm Chief Strategy Officer of Omnia Holding, where we have several industrial activities. I'm as well CEO of Innovad Energy. So we are involved in heavy industry and particularly in automotive sector, because we are at the beginning of supply chain. So we have two forging shops. We are involved in energy sector as well. BESS development, I mean battery energy storages. Not only development, but even deployment. Software development like energy management system, AI based on predictive algorithms. And we are doing waste liquidation as a neutralization of emulsion waters. I'm overseeing and setting strategies over those companies. In some of them, I'm vice chairman of supervisory board, and in some, managing director.
Thank you. So what's the biggest challenge, in your humble opinion, at the moment? To put it shortly.
Actually, I would somehow interconnect the data Michal provided us with. So it means that industrial production within the sector is increasing. There is a fierce price competition, and it looks like we do not focus at completely right thing. So wouldn't that be better to build up our future on our strengths instead of weaknesses?
That's a good question. Dariusz?
Hello everyone, my name is Dariusz, I'm from Poland, and I am engineer, mechanical engineer. I've been designing during my career aircraft engines, cars, nuclear reactors, railway vehicles, and recently also the gearboxes for the aviation industry. Somewhere in the meantime, I have also found the startup called ADVANICA. The startups deals and is interested in the turbo machinery sector initially for the propulsion of the electric generators, also technology related to effective piston engines for the propulsion of the electric generators, but also being a possible use as the range extenders for hybrid solutions. So this is me, and the question was about the challenges.
In your humble opinion, what's...
For the V4
Yeah.
automotive. So actually I would divide this into two separate areas. Well, first of all, there is a Chinese say, I wish you've been living in the interesting times, but this is a curse, and they wish it to the enemies. But actually, I think we need to consider this as the chance, because we are rising economies, and we need some kind of disturbances. The system needs to a little bit be not working well. So from that chaos, we can find advantages and possibilities for us if we want to, get to the higher level. And by this, I mean development of R&D in our countries, because as I think somebody already mentioned, we do grade the assembly, but we don't do so much of R&D. And I think so for the original local industry, we need to develop our R&D. We need tier one providers for the bigger Western companies, and we need them to not be sold to them if they already succeed a little bit, So we need to keep these companies with us. And for the big companies like ŠKODA or BMW and other, I think what they need from us to keep the production in our countries is the low energy cost. So I would elaborate more on this if there will be more time later.
Okay. Thank you. Robert?
Thank you very much, Anna. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome also from my side. My name is Robert Ésik. I work as a partner at EY. I'm part of the Global Location Services and Incentives team. We provide advisory services on location strategy and incentives in the EMEIA region, Europe, Middle East, India, Africa. And maybe one more sentence. Before joining EY, I have spent 8 years working as the CEO of HIPA, the Hungarian Investment Promotion Agency, the equivalent of Sario, Czech Investor, PAIH, and was responsible for attracting FDI to the country of Hungary. And to your question on the challenges of the automotive industry, in one sentence, I would say is how to remain competitive in this new era of mobility, which actually is a combination of multiple challenges. So number one, the technology shift, which is happening. Number two, the regulatory pressure, which we can all feel in Europe. Number 3, geopolitical issues. We have spoken about this already this morning. Number 4, talent, the changing requirements for talent. If automotive companies becoming more and more software companies, then of course you need to look for a different type of talent. One more, the supply chain issues. So how to manage sustainable supply chains even in disruptive environments. And last but definitely not least, the changing customer needs and behaviors. So I think a multiple of challenges to deal with, and the question is, how can we remain competitive?
Thank you. Elena?
Thank you, Anna. Hello, everyone. I'm happy to be here. Thank you for having me with you. I do represent ŠKODA Auto. For those who are not aware, this is an automotive company. We do produce cars for quite a while. I would say 130 years already. And I'm here to represent external affairs team. We are responsible for regulation, lobbying, etc. And I'm in charge of trade, policy and strategic regions, which basically means I'm standing on these crossroads trying to navigate between the ever-changing international policy, regulation and the automotive ambition in the end, which taking into account the current vulnerably developing trade policy issues, making it very much fun in the end with this job, you know, and this is really a kind of a thing which really brings a little bit fuel into all this current situation, except of course already mentioned regulation, which I presume, coming back to your question, as challenge is definitely number one in all our shortlists for the challenges. The red tape is definitely something we have to face very actively in order to be competitive and to keep these agile mindset, I would say even to increase the agile mindset, which we potentially lack sometimes in our decision-making processes and in our soft skills. The other way, I would say definitely the feeling of globalization or deglobalization, I would say localization of certain regions. When you still are able to produce a nice product, but you cannot already keep the one platform for every region. For example, you can't sell the cars with Chinese software in USA, etc. So this brings another cost and another burden to such companies as ŠKODA Auto, for example. And the last but not the least definitely is kind of the lack or the gap for the skilled labor force, which we have to be in position to retrain, reskill, upskill, and acquire. And this adaptation of this mindset and skilled labor force to our customers' needs and experiences, and sometimes the conflict between the customers' needs and the regulation in the end, which we are trying really to solve. And to cut the whole story short, just to mention, my gut feeling is that the highest challenge for automotive currently is that we have to run at all our speed just to stay at the same place we are currently. So in order to move somewhere else, we have to do our utmost. And yes, this is challenging, but on the other hand, that's fun. Thank you.
Yeah, it's the need for speed, I suppose. But going back to what you all said, very interesting. I think all of you have read my notes before, so we're on the same wavelength. But Robert, I wanna get back to you, because with your extensive background in all the matters related to foreign investment, I think we cannot talk about automotive sector in the V4 without the FDIs, because this has been on the growth and on the rise for a number of years, I would say, and Hungary being one of the brightest examples probably of receiving the foreign direct investment. From what I understood, even back in 2024, it received over 30% of all the Chinese FDI, which was targeted for the EU plus the UK region. And we are seeing an extensive development of the sector, a lot of factories being built, and Hungary currently coming to sort of a status of a battery valley of the region, because there are so many things happening in Miskolc, Debrecen, and other regions of the country. What, in your opinion, helps the market to remain attractive? And what is the one thing that you need to focus on to actually stay in that race?
Thank you for the question, Anna. So maybe I would just step back one step and just give you some insights about the strategy around FDI attraction. So the automotive industry historically always played an important part of the economic environment of Hungary. And already back in 2014, we have decided that if we want to be successful in the new era of mobility, then we need to focus on attracting investment related to electric mobility, so battery manufacturing, and also autonomous driving, which will be a critical software solution for the future of mobility. And when it comes to e-mobility, since batteries represent 1/3 of the value of the car, and those are heavy components, wherever batteries will be produced, also electric vehicles will be produced. So that is how we have embarked on this journey of attracting battery cell producers. And to date, there are now 5 major companies, 2 Koreans and 3 Chinese from the top 10 globally, either having built battery cell manufacturing facilities or in the process of building those up. Now, of course, we currently hear some of the struggles of the take-up of electric vehicles, and this has resulted in the slowdown of output, which I personally believe is of temporary nature, and according to all the forecasts, this will pick up again. And I would also mention that parallel to this, although we speak about it less in the media, there have been significant investments in autonomous driving as well. Bosch already employs 3,800 engineers, and it's the largest R&D center outside of Germany of the company. ThyssenKrupp develops the steer-by-wire solution. Jaguar Land Rover decided to locate its continental European engineering hub in Budapest, and we have other examples. So I think the strategy to focus on these 2 directions definitely worked out, and now the big question is how to move on, because we do have to admit that the country of Hungary, similar to other countries, has some limitations in terms of labor supply, infrastructure supply, because all these investments require a lot of utilities and industrial park development and logistics investments, and of course, state budget is not limitless. So definitely the next step to be successful is to focus on attracting investments of higher value add, and also helping the existing facilities to reskill, so helping workers becoming from blue collar to technician to engineers, and thus improving the productivity. And also this is the direction of the economic development policy in terms of providing incentives or providing funds for infrastructure development.
Thank you very much, Robert. Now that you've touched up on the R&D, I want to go back to Dariusz, because we've started talking about that with you. And in Hungary, for example, from what I know, Bosch is very actively involved with the universities of the country to try and get the specialists and to try and do the R&D area, to give an R&D area a bit of a boost, which in my humble opinion, we are lacking throughout the region, because there is a lot of investment happening, a lot of developments happening with the technology, and that's when the R&D should probably step up. From your experience at ADVANICA and the previous experiences that you had, what is the main probably target or the focus of the R&D at this point in time with the way the sector, with the state the sector is in now?
So I think if we speak about universities, they need to address the real needs of the industry and the economy. So let's look at that, and we will see there is energy. So I guess we can look for the partners also, not in our group of 4 countries, but around. In Norway, there is a nice know-how about thorium. Chinese proven already this can work and produce the energy. So why not make some links and work on this? In Germany, there was lots of knowledge on MOX, which is related to getting the energy from the uranium waste. And they completely closed these projects. The know-how is there. I know some of this know-how already been shared with Polish universities, so I would definitely suggest to elaborate on this. Another problem that automotive, because we speak about automotive, will deal is the supply chain in terms of the minerals and so on. So I guess recycling of the rare metals, this kind of R&D would be definitely something to do. I represent turbo machinery and generators for some reason, because I believe it's important. So kind of this technology as a range extenders and so on in future world. Yeah, I think this is it. And absolutely, I agree. The universities needs to collaborate better with the industry to shape new education.
Thank you. Thank you. I do agree with you there, because I think there is a lot of, instead of sort of trying to look elsewhere, you've got the resources back at the universities and that the students who are actually focused on the area and they want to do it. So I think that's the most natural thing to turn to at this point in time. Rudolf, I want to get back to you after Dariusz, because we've touched upon sort of supply chain a little bit. And how is your company addressing the strategy, because you're the strategy guy, right? Yeah. So how are you addressing the strategy of dealing with this skill gap, I would call it, going to the labor force, right? Sort of the skill gap in your own operations or supply chain partners, is like reskilling happening fast enough to keep up with the industry changes? Because there's so much electronic mobility being developed. We have the e-vehicles, we have everything. Do you see the need sort of, or imbalance in the speed of the way the labor force and the skills are developing?
So it means that I will try to address what I said at the very beginning. We should focus on what we are strong at. Now it looks like that we are in a transition. So it means we are getting from conventional vehicles to EV mobility. But do we have enough resources, not only if we are talking about the talents, but I'm talking about the scarce resources needed for the manufacturing. So at first I would like to say that within the European Union, we should somehow attract and save the supply chain, and not only stubbornly rely on cross-border resupplies. I'm talking about the whole European Union. Mm-hmm. Then we are focusing on the talent management. But at first, do we know what we are excel at? In usually, or it used to be, we were good at the European Union at technical aspect. So it means that first of all, we need to realize and set clear strategy and vision what talent is in need. Then we need to set up the right system within the education and prepare foundation for having the right people. And then again, we were good at conventional engines, at gearboxes, manufacturing. We are good at software development, etc. And these are the things we should, again, be as a trendsetter, as a leaders in European Union, because in the past, doesn't matter where the car from the European Union was exported, either to United States or to Far East or Russia, Africa, doesn't matter. There were good safety standard and good quality. Now we are decreasing the safety standard and we are decreasing the quality, and we are somehow getting not in the lead, but we are catching the tail. So first of all, we need to have the right focus, right strategy and vision, where to position again European Union. That's it.
Thank you very much. Elena, I'm going to throw a little creative, controversial question for you. Because you spoke a lot about the challenges at the beginning. So if you had a magic wand and you could eliminate one of them, the most important one for your company, and because your company is one of the, let's face it, one of the main players of the industry, which one would you say, which wish would you wish to be implemented? Sorry for my very bad English in this sentence, but from all the challenges that you've mentioned, which one is for you the one that is sort of a deal breaker?
Well, thank you, Anna. Really creative question. I'm quite embarrassed I have to pick only one, you know. So quite limited in the end. I will definitely go with the red tape and overregulation because, you know, I have some really strange feeling about that because when I speak to colleagues all over the world, we are quite a global company, you know, we have production in China and India and in many countries. And my gut feeling is that, you know, China is playing football. US is playing football, you know, currently probably without sneakers because of these president's policy. And we, as Europe, we also play football, but God knows why, in a hockey uniform. And it doesn't make it easier for us, you know. So too much regulation really limits us from being really effective. And I would really appreciate if this regulation, even if it is needed, and it's definitely needed, we stick to the decarbonization rules, we stick to Paris agreements, etc. But I would say it really needs a lot of more flexibility on the way towards these very good and proper targets.
Thank you very much. I think that was a very creative answer indeed. To finish off, I don't want to stay finishing off with challenges. I want to finish on a high note. Yeah, we can maybe. Just a quick reminder to everybody in the audience, if you have any questions, we've just suddenly been given some more time for the panel. So think them up. There is Slido, or there is kind Olivia with a microphone in her hands in the audience. If you will have something, I will give you a chance in a few minutes. But to go over, I have a question for everybody. What actually gives you hope about the V4 automotive sector right now? And whoever is ready to answer, please go ahead.
I'm happy to start. So on the one hand side, definitely V4 countries remain very competitive within Europe. So no matter which major OEM we talk to, they always highlight that their best production units are actually within one of the V4 countries. Mm-hmm. So I think the region still represents a competitive edge to European OEMs. Of course, this is also, this success is conditional to the success of the OEM itself. So we cannot differentiate ourselves over the long term, but at least on the short term, we are definitely providing a competitive alternative. And on the other hand side, I think we have great examples of innovation, things that European engineers have brought to the industry. So I personally do believe that if those engineers can focus at what they are best doing, then we can still remain competitive also in this new era of mobility.
Thank you. Rudolf,
from my point of view, I'm always optimist. And I'm a big believer. And now I believe that common wisdom in final will show up. Second thing is, within the V4, what we are able to do is build up a future on regional proximity. So it means that we need build up our manufacturing and R&D activity in common cooperation, and we need to build up the clusters. So within the clusters with proximity up to 200 up to 500 kilometers, there is everything we need. So it means that we are able to get the commodities needed for the manufacturing. We have the manufacturer who are at the very beginning of supply chain. then there is a finalization, then there is a assembly process, and finally we are getting a product. So we should build up that future on that cooperation.
Thank you very much.
Well, what brings a hope to me, I think it was, for instance, a speech of a European Commissioner a couple of minutes ago. So I see they realize the reality and what the industry really needs. So this brings me lots of hope for the future. And I would like also to hope for the building our own independent industry in the region. We almost need to start from the scratch at the moment, but I think the opportunity of building in these times also double-use technologies, the rise of new markets like drones and so on. These are all the applications that aren't direct automotive applications, but they appeared, and the transfer from know-how and from people can be done, you know, between these sibling markets. So I think double use, this is kind of a hope for me as well. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yes, I would try to keep it short, taking into account the time constraints, but those are three things from my point of view. The first is competition. I do believe in competition. I do believe in open markets. I do believe in free trade agreements. Yes, I'm quite naive, but I do believe in that. And hopefully, competition in the end brings growth. Growth brings resilience. Resilience brings wealth. That's quite easy, quite a mathematical equation. The second thing is the hard skills asset we possess as Visegrad 4 countries, and ability to promptly, fastly, and agilely invest in R&D and new technologies, and to adapt to the ever-changing mindset of the new customer, world, regulation, geopolitics, etc. And the last, but the most important, people. I do believe in people. I do believe in a new customer. I do believe in a new generation, and to the huge investment into their skills, especially soft skills, ability to think with entrepreneurial mindset, and to drive innovation and different approaches, and to break the silos in the end, bring in something new, and in the end, helping the world to live smarter.
That's an excellent point. I think we used to talk about man against the machine. Now it's man with the machine. So that's the way forward. We have 5 minutes remaining of the panel. So before we start closing, are there any questions from the audience that you would like to ask? Because there's nothing on Slido. I keep looking at the screen, but maybe somebody in the audience has a question, and Olivia would be happy to assist you with the microphone. Yeah, all right. And gentlemen in the front row.
I have a question to whoever wants to answer it. We've heard a lot about battery innovation. We've heard a lot about hydrogen. We've heard a lot about renewable energy. We've heard a lot about electricity. We're a legacy-based region. The V4 has been traditionally engineering, manufacturing, and we've got a long history of good car production. And it's been a very successful ticket for so long. And now the EU and the Draghi report have put unrealistic expectations on all European countries for net neutrality by 2050. How do we be competitive, number one? How do we keep the industry affordable for consumers? Because now we're consuming at a rate that we've never consumed at before. And how can we best employ people? We're losing people to emerging markets. We're losing people to bigger paychecks. So I address it to any of you. Robert, you want to take it? I'll put you on the spot.
Thank you. Sure, happy to start. Fairly complex question, I have to admit. So I think you listed a number of challenges, among which the net neutrality target for Europe as such. And I think this is one of the major drivers when it comes to the automotive industry. And I think the companies, the OEMs and the automotive suppliers embarked on a journey and started to tackle this challenge to meet these more and more stringent targets when it comes to emissions. But in the meantime, the industry has been faced with other type of challenges, such as the geopolitical issues or the fastly emerging competition from China, which I think nobody expected to be this fast. So I think one way to manage is that it's okay to keep the final target of neutrality, but I think the measure which was introduced recently by the Commission, meaning that the CO2 emission targets do not have to be kept on an annual basis, but rather in 3 years' time there's going to be a retrospective check on that, is a good measure because it gives more time to the European industry. So I would say one of the ways to manage it, and this comes back to Elena's comment on the red tape, is to give us a little bit more time and space to adapt to the challenges and regulatory obligations that we have set to ourselves. Number two, I also believe in competition as such, and I think introducing additional tariffs, and also we have seen this in terms of the European Union, is not the way forward that any of the European OEMs would actually support. So it was interesting to see that the Commission has decided to adopt tariffs on Chinese EVs towards the European market, but in fact, none of the European OEMs have lined up and supported this decision of the Commission. So I think it's also probably an indication of what would be the way forward supported by the members of the industry as well, going back towards more, let's say, fair competition rules. And maybe last but not least, I think what we will see going forward is probably an increasing competition from China, more and more OEMs settling on the continent. So BYD is the first. Again, Hungary is affected as they have chosen my hometown, Szeged, actually for their investment. Moreover, in addition to the manufacturing facility, it was announced that they also establish a European headquarters with up to 2,000 employees covering engineering and European HQ roles as well. So I do expect other Chinese OEMs to follow this path, maybe with a different strategy, starting first with contract manufacturing or a regional sales hub. So I think for the industry itself, we have to learn how to compete. And also there are opportunities arising from this because these Chinese automotive companies are open to what we call localization. And they have two important conditions. One is a competitive price, and the second is a quality which meets their requirements. So I think there is opportunity going forward for the tier 1, tier 2 suppliers to get integrated into the value chain of the Chinese EV makers.
And on this wonderful note,
Yeah.
oh, sorry, yeah, Elena, I'm sorry. Yeah.
I'm really sorry for interrupting,
No,
but
no,
still,
no.
I really believe in the magic of figures. I'm coming back to the question of electric mobility and the evident choice for electric mobility. We at ŠKODA plan to invest 5.6 billion euro in electric mobility for another 5 years, which is definitely shows that we're already in the train running in a full speed. Definitely, this is a choice, a sacramental choice we already made. So we will definitely do our utmost to support the idea of electromobility and reaching these standards of CO2 emissions to keep in the balance. But on the other hand, we still have to take into account the wishes of our customer and the customer preferences and sentiments, which is quite a challenging issue. And I do really support the idea of cooperation with a worldwide cooperation, actually, with Chinese, because taking into account that China possesses almost all raw materials, like 85% of manganese, 73% of cobalt, etc., etc. I can go on with this list for quite a long period of time. This is not good or bad, this is a fact. And with these facts, We have to have the balance of cooperation, and instead of posing tariffs on Chinese electric vehicles, we have to go for a negotiation for the partnerships, trying to accept some know-hows, teach each other and benefit for this, because this is the only win-win strategy we can really have in hand to reach our very ambitious climate goals.
And I think that goes not only for the global East and West cooperation, but for the platform that we're representing here as well. The cooperation within V4 is crucial because we are such natural partners. I mean, it's very hard to ignore it. So I would like to thank you all for your insights today and for the horsepower that you brought to the wonderful automotive panel. I think this sector is absolutely at the crossroads, but with the right fuel, some cooperation on the track, and some smart bets, I do believe that the V4 won't just stay in the race, but might actually lead it. I don't know how you all think. And with that, let's give it up for the wonderful panelists today. Please give a round of applause. And I also come bearing very good news. It is lunchtime now, so you can proceed to the lunch break, which will last for an hour, and I will return on stage after lunch with a very interesting panel on EU competitiveness. Enjoy your lunch.